everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video I'm going to be going over my tips for round 2 of the 2022 AFL season. If you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. And let's kick it off with my tips from last week. Rightio, so my tips from round 1, I only managed to get 4 out of 9 correct. Not the greatest. I did tip the D's and they did get the job done against the Doggies. Great game that was. I decided to go over the Tigers. I thought they'd get it done again. Carlton absolutely just came out of the blocks firing. They had an exceptional 4th term with just pretty much shocking the Tigers and kicking goal after goal. I did tip the Saints to hopefully get it done against the Pies, but the Pies playing that more attacking, exciting brand of footy under the new coach of 𝐓𝐿𝐴𝐿, they had a great win over St Kilda. I tipped Essendon. I thought they could cause a bit of an upset at the G against the Cats, but the Cats were far too strong, winning by over 10 goals. Thought the Giants would cause a full party pooper upset for Buddy's chance to get 1,000 goals. They did that. I decided to tip them, however, they did not win, as the Swans, similar to the Carlton game, produced a fantastic 4th quarter and won by 20 points. I tipped the Lions to get the win over Port Adelaide and got that one correct. It was pretty much end-to-end throughout the whole game. Port looked like they were going to run away with it, but the Lions, another brilliant 4th quarter. There was just so many momentum shifts in this round of footy, and the Lions got it done by 11 points. Tipped the Hawks for this game and they got the win over North. Pretty nice performance again, sort of end-to-end, but then Hawks were just far too strong towards the end. They also had 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐿 out, which just really burnt them with Mitch Lewis kicking like 3 to 4 goals. I'm pretty sure he was fantastic. Then Adelaide versus Fremantle could be pretty much the game of the round. So many momentum shifts in that game, and how about that spoil save from Chapman? That was just so clutch. But I tipped the Crows to hopefully get it done with the home field advantage, and they almost did, but I got that one wrong. And the last game, Suns versus the West Coast Eagles, and I did tip the Suns, and there you go. And they won pretty convincingly in the end by 27 points. So 4 out of 9 for my very first tipping video, or tipping round on the channel. Now before I get into my tips, let's just take a quick look at the tipping competition ladder, the top 10. By fellas, if you've yet to join the tipping competition, I'll leave a link down in the description below. Free to join, and there is plenty of cash up for grabs for the winners at the end of the season. Anyway, top 10, we've got Charlie 6830 with 8 points. Same with 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐿, 𝗼𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴𝐿 in 9th and 8th. 7th, Willie and the Doggies with 10. 𝐓𝐴𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐿 with 10. 𝐿𝐵T with 10. 7th, 6th and 5th. In 4th, we've got Liam Had with 11. 3rd, Go Bombers 23 with 12. 2nd, Noah BD with 12. And 1st, Joel Healy with 14. You might be wondering why these fellas have such high points. I'm assuming they did use their joker rounds to activate the ability to grab double points for the round. Okay, with that out of the way now, let's get into the real business of the tips for round 2, and we kick it off with a Thursday night game between the Doggies and Carlton. This will be a pretty interesting game. You've got Carlton coming off such a great win, Western Bulldogs wanting to get their first win of 2022. Western Bulldogs are the favourites of this game, and I'm just going to be taking the safe option, baking in the grand finalist runners-up from last year to get the job done over Carlton. Yes, I know Carlton, they could be within a chance, but I just feel that they weren't very sustainable last round, relying on their midfielders to kick the majority of their goals. And the Doggies just see more of that structured side at the moment. Who knows, could be close, and I'm going to be tipping the Bulldogs by a convincing win of 26 points. Now for Friday night, and we've got the Sydney Swans taking on Geelong. This just gives me vibes back in round 7 last year when Tommy Papley kicked the winner. What a game that was. Unfortunately, he won't be playing. Possibly Jeremy Cameron, on the other hand, won't be playing either. But again, will be a cracking contest. The Sydney Swans are actually favourites in this game, but I don't know, Geelong did look very strong last week. I know they didn't really play a more of a quality opposition compared to the Swans did, but I'm probably going to be backing in Geelong here, just because they seem more of that experienced side. They always play quite decent football against the Swans too. And also similar to Carlton, the Swans had to heavily rely on their midfielders to kick all their goals. Their forward line was pretty much non-existent. McLean, McDonald, Buddy, they didn't really do the job And for me, it just seems like Geelong is more of the realistic option. And I'm going to be tipping them by another comfortable margin of 21 points. Moving on to the Saturday games now, and we've got Collingwood versus Adelaide in the 1:45 p.m. slot at the MCG. This is a really intriguing matchup. Collingwood seem to be on the up with their more attacking and exciting way of playing footy under Craig McRae. Of course, that leaves the exposure of possibly leaking in more goals, also including that they don't have a full defence lineup with a few players out. And on the other hand, Adelaide wanting to get their first win of 2022 very close against Fremantle. I think they should have won that game. But nevertheless, I'm going to be backing in the Pies here. I just feel that they were more of a quality side compared to Adelaide when both teams did play last week. The Crows could have potentially been beaten by over maybe 10 goals. They were very lucky to stay in the contest and claw back their way to almost win. I know, yes, the Pies are quite vulnerable down back, but for me, it's just they've got such an exciting young list, and if they can muster what they did against the Saints last week, I see them taking the Chockies in that game. Now for Essendon versus the Brisbane Lions at Marvel Stadium. Essendon were truly not up to the billing against the Cats last week, and really did surprise Ben Rutten, as he said in the press conference he was just totally shocked of how his players played. None of those players were just hard to the footy, they just weren't up for it. Lions really did show a strong performance against Port Adelaide, showing their resilience, clawing back and taking victory. And for me, I'm going to be going for the visitors here. They just seem to be more of that prime side at the moment. Moving on now to Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn at the Adelaide Oval. Port should be getting the job done here against the Hawks. Hawks do look quite exciting. They had a really good win against North Melbourne, but let's be real, they are one of the worst teams in the competition. North Melbourne, not the greatest quality of opposition compared to who Port Adelaide had to verse. I know that Port Adelaide will be missing 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻 and Trent McKenzie for quite some time, two very vital defenders in Port Adelaide's backline. We can then see players like Sam Skinner or Mead or Josh Sinn get the call up into the first to play, and I just feel that they are still going to be a very strong outfit against Hawks, and they'll get a convincing win here and win by 43 points. Now for the Suns versus the Demons. Both teams with a win last week and both very good wins. Gold Coast had a very convincing win against the Eagles, and there could be thoughts of, hey, could they give the Demons a run for their money? But for me, it just seems like a bridge too far. You never know what can happen at Metricon Stadium. Bloody anything could happen. Last year, the Suns almost got an upset win over the Bulldogs. But Melbourne, they just seem to be the team to beat at the moment. They look very superior, barely any injuries, and I'm going to be going for the Demons here. Could be a close contest throughout, could, give the D's a real run for their money, but I feel like they will flex their muscles and run away with it to win by 30 points. Now for the Sunday games, and we've got North Melbourne versus West Coast at Marvel Stadium. This is quite a close contest in my eyes. It feels like my heart is saying North Melbourne, but my brain is saying the West Coast Eagles, and I will go with the Eagles. Yes, Eagles are currently losing around half of their best 22, but considering how well and how hard fought they did play against the Suns, really did catch my eye, and with North having Walker and 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻, both pretty much key defenders for North Melbourne, I can see them leaking a few goals, and the Eagles will get the job done on the road and win by 19 points. Now for another classic contest, the Tigers versus the Giants at the MCG. Richmond at the moment are looking quite questionable. They were just not good and a shell of themselves against the Blues, whilst GWS played fantastic against the Swans and were really a good chance to win that game. This again is a really close contest. I can really see this going either way. The Tigers could really pull off an absolute cracker, whilst Giants seem to be more of the safer option. They seem that at the moment, form-wise, that higher quality opposition, and in that case, I am going to be chipping the Giants to get the job done over Richmond by 18 points. And for the last game of the round, we've got Fremantle versus St Kilda. Again, this looks like it seems to be a real toss-up, because Fremantle had a magnificent win over St Kilda, and they'll return to Optus Stadium with a win under their belts. They'll play with a lot more confidence with starting off 1-0. We all know St Kilda, a very inconsistent side, and I just don't really see them getting the job done in the West. They always have really good, solid list of players, but they're just underperforming from what we saw last week, St Kilda, and I'm going to be going with Fremantle here. I can really see this being a close game, potentially a few lead changes, but Fremantle will get the win in the end, and I'm going to go for a close one and say Freo will win by 8 points. So everybody, that is the end of today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you went on to enjoy today's video. Really keen for this second round of footy. Let's hope it is a repeat of last round with that fast-paced, exciting brand of football across all 9 games. And yeah, that's it from me, fellas. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. See you later, fellas.